But we are going to get into game and spawning here on the top right side of Dust Towers in this best of 3. Playing for the clan aLive, it's aLive.
The bottom left as the blue Terran playing for Spedu, it's jjakji.
All right, so jjakji, there was a time when jjakji was just like a god. I remember seeing him get picked up for my insanity. I thought, damn, this is like one of the best players I've seen them pick up in a long time. And surprisingly, he was like the only one on the team not to win a dream hack. Like, he's the only one on the team not to come up with a bunch of results. And it was really sad when he eventually left the team. But jjakji, just, I don't know, had a bit of a downward track record going for a while. But it felt like when he went back to Korea, it definitely started picking up again. And joining Spedu was definitely a cool thing to see, but we'll see if he's able to get through aLive or not. I can't really hype aLive up too much either. He's kind of been on a bit of the back burner. He hasn't played in a whole lot of things we've been watching, but he's always been a very solid Terran. That much is for sure.
Yes, we'll see if he can make it through aLive. Didn't know if that on purpose. It was pretty good though. He might die on his way to the championship. This is hard mode StarCraft 2.
Okay, so as we get into the game, questions are going to start arising. Who goes for Banshees? Who goes for Cyclones? I mean, we just watched a whole series, or an end to the series, where Cyclones made it look too easy. Ryong, like, if you told me that Reality 2-1 Ryong, I would believe you, but I wouldn't believe that it was done in such quick fashion. Because, like, everything we've seen in the beta is like, Ryong, you're better than that. But that's a pretty disgusting game of what happened. And Cyclones, I don't think are OP enough to mass by any means, but when used correctly, can be very dangerous. And quite good for defense as well, as we've seen.
Yes, very good. Not coming out for either player now, though. They're going for very typical openers. jjakji gets the faster command center, and we'll have to just be on the defensive. He doesn't have a wall off, but he does have a bunker, not bunkers, a bunker with a couple Marines in it. So the Hellions, should they decide to run past, they'll probably be able to do damage. But will they actually run past?
Yeah, you actually don't too often see them run past that ramp, but they might just do it. Nope, it'll be a little bit too spooked, so aLive gonna disconnect for now. I guess going for the medevac like he was, it's just to be safer to get the drop anyways. He was going to test the waters with that one Hellion, and unfortunately it does go down. But he still should have 4 for the medevac, depending on the timing on this last one. We do have a third command center coming out very quickly out of jjakji, and this is a little bit scary. That medevac's going to get in here to the backside and pick off quite a few of those SCVs, but the nice thing is with 3 CCs, he'll be able to replace his losses as long as they aren't too severe.
That is true. And once again, you're facing a player who isn't going for a very big attack. It is mostly harassment based, and a 3CC should be able to survive that.
Yeah, jjakji's greed here, I don't know, like aLive's only just putting down his natural now. As long as jjakji doesn't lose the game to this, and it's only 3 Hellions, not even 4, so he shouldn't. In fact, I feel like you pulled 2 SCVs into this with what he has, and this is a really easy hold. In fact, with all those Marines coming as well, definitely going to be the case. So, not going so hot here for aLive, and he doesn't have an economy to focus on after this. In fact, scouting that 3rd CC has got to be one of the scariest things he could see right now.
I don't want to use the word hard counter, but this build that jjakji is getting away with is not, it's not good for aLive, I'll tell you that much. He's going to try and continue harassing, getting whatever damage he can done. Taking away the army maybe is also helpful, as you know, he does have the faster stim, but oddly enough doesn't even have the faster production really. Only getting a 2nd barracks right now. jjakji he has 3 command centers officially now. They're all turning into orbitals, and he's going to get that nice burst of production in just a minute. And aLive does not have an army to contest that, especially on such a long map. By the time he gets over here, it'll be fine for jjakji.
The one-of-mine drop is cute because it's actually not strong enough to kill SCVs. Like, you can't drones and probes. So it's like, okay, you killed a worker. Nice job.
And what it does is use the scans. But on
That's
3CC,
you have the extra scan to burn. Absolutely. You know, on top of this too, jjakji's income is already looking good. As you said, like in a moment, it's going to burst ahead when he starts dropping 3 mules at a time. And I mean, already just destroying aLive when it comes to income.
Yeah. This is not. Yeah, I hate to call it early, but this is not looking good for aLive. And aLive knows it too. Like, he scouted that third command center and knows that he has to do damage. Some really big damage too. Like, basically game ending. I mean, like 20 SCVs, and then he'll probably be in a really good position. But 20 SCVs is a lot.
He does have Stim ready to go, and he's going to have combat shields over his opponent. That's where aLive takes a small lead in the game when it comes to tech. And we'll see if that tech lets him do the damage he needs to. Tanks and Marines are not in the back of the base. They are completely out of position for this drop. He did not see this coming, and this is where some SCVs are almost starting to die.
Yeah, a lot of lost mining time too. He's gonna have to lift that command center and just send it on over. Might lose a good chunk of his army as well. I mean, jjakji was like, he was playing defensive.
Supply block.
Oh, that's a little annoying. jjakji was playing defensive. Like, he had his army back at home, obviously, but just not in the right position. And that's the aLive did have tech. That was basically the one thing he had. Stim and medevacs are already available. So for jjakji not to anticipate at least a little bit a drop is bad.
I'm surprised aLive decided to stand his ground and fight. I think he could have actually lifted up everything, gone to the third base, and jjakji was so wickedly out of position. Kind of like what he's doing now, but with, you know, 6 more Marines that have Stim.
Well, he certainly is doing damage. He's got a fresh mule the other two. Got a bit of an the army. I mean, I ended up treating out army really well, actually.
Ooh, main base,
and even more SCVs in the main base. So this is the damage that he needed to do to make up for that drastically later second and third command center. And it's getting to a point where he's kind of made up for it. Third command center is more working orbital right now. Upgrades are still going to be behind. That he probably can't help that unless jjakji just forgets his upgrades or doesn't find the minerals for it.
Well, the 1-1 for jjakji is really interesting because I don't think it's quite going to beat out the combat shields upgrade that aLive's going to have. That is such a big deal when it comes to Marines. That 10 health is you can't even argue. You'd need like 3-3 to make the difference for that.
His armory was also later, so the upgrades are catching up.
It's a weird way for the game to start evening out, but I like it because that does mean we got a potential late game, and TvT late game is so fun to watch. It really is. But whether we get there or not, it's pushing. Because it feels like you see games like Journey where one player looks like they've got control and they look like they're ahead, then boom, they lose everything, and it's over.
Yeah, it all comes down to how they take the fights, how those tank drops really work out. I mean, upgrades are great. Marines are still exactly the same as they were in Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm. You got combat shields, you have Stim, you check the upgrades once, and then you know whether their concave's going to work or not. Like, the Terran Pro gamers have that down pat, but the tank positioning is what really makes it hard to call, both as the player and the caster, when that fight actually comes down to it.
So there's some questions about mules being asked in chat. I want to just touch base on this. I actually don't know the new math behind it or what the numbers are, but mules mine more per trip, that's a fact, but they also mine a lot slower, which is a fact. In fact, actually, Nathaniel was talking about this yesterday, which was kind of cool. I didn't know. Apparently now, if you drop them on the close mineral patches, due to the longer mining time, they won't ever come back and lose minerals like in hand, like, you know, when you drop them on the close patches before. So that's kind of cool. I don't know what the new numbers are, but yeah, the point that was brought up in chat is that it did cost money to scan, essentially, and that is true. You lose out on that mule to scan, so it's lost income.
Yeah.
Kind of dropped, just chilling over here. This rocks, so no reason to be pre-dropped like this, I suppose.
Yeah. Just in case a Viking comes over, I guess.
Yeah. I like this missile turret placement. aLive always has a bit of a funny stigma to him for us when it comes to missile turrets. Like, look what he's done in the main, but he is gonna have this wide coverage of turrets.
Yeah. Well, it's really come back down to a much more even game. Josh to get a little bit of supply lead right now, but now he can feel comfortable enough to just defend on his own 3 bases and harass a little bit. And, you know, there's no really a hurry to take an engagement, to be the one moving out, because right now no one really has control over the game. No one has been constantly pressuring. Well, I guess aLive's been doing a decent job about that, but the point is, like, if you move out in TvT and you don't have your bases guarded, but you don't know exactly where their army is, which is hard on a big map to know at all points, you could be in trouble if you don't have static defense.
Yeah. I mean, we actually, you know, it's funny because with Boost really changing the game, you don't really see as many missile turret rings anymore because it does take throwing down like 17 missile turrets to actually make it worthwhile as like a solid defense, but anything to deter the drops is always a nice thing. Those scans coming down the middle of the map, just kind of looking to see where's safe to move that army. Gonna see nothing in the path through the middle, but that's not
That should
necessarily
be
a good thing.
Exactly, that should be a big red, light here. See the main army and the natural, and it's just tanks or the medevacs and the marines. jjakji doesn't really have anything at home. A couple of tanks come over.
Both players gonna go ham with these drops. We'll see how well jjakji can defend because he's gonna get dropped in the main, but so is aLive. While both players are pushing through strong. Big tank drop here. That's a big dedication, and I don't know if that's worth it. He goes back to scoop up the marines, gonna unload them top of the tanks. Well, he will take out these tanks. But again, is it worth it? Back home at the other side of the map, jjakji's managed to defend some of his production, but lost quite a few SCVs. Does aLive as well? No, he pulls them away from the natural base. So this is just like chaos and hectic on both sides of the field, but I'm feeling a little bit better for jjakji.
I'm feeling a little better for aLive, actually. His supply is starting to show that he took the better end of that
now
trade.
it is for sure, absolutely. That SCV count being the biggest tell.
Yeah, down by 25, but then the army is still in favor of jjakji, but half it is over here. Half of it is kind of camping production.
That's the thing, like you can have a million SCVs, but if you can't build anything with that income, it might not matter. jjakji is finally going to get cleaned up at the main, but he's also moving across the map with the rest of his force, and he's got a pretty decent supply lead when it comes to army. Now, whether that's going to be effective or not is still questionable because that's where tanks and defensive positioning comes into play. Fourth base gets taken for aLive while this goes on, and he does have SCVs for days. Any time spent right now gives aLive a huge edge in the game. This is jjakji's only really opportunity to come here and try and end it. Because if he waits too long, he's going to fall way too far behind.
jjakji could have a free fourth, to be honest. Like, that was not guarded, but he, of course, waited a little while, picked up his tanks, and is just not going to the fourth. Even still, he's going to get dropped on the left side. Once again, scans and sees nothing but tanks. That has to alert him to at least try and keep stuff at home, but what is he really keeping at home?
He does this in a way that infuriates me. I'd almost love to see the Marines come out first, then drop the tanks later, but once again, sacrifices quite a few tanks on the high ground to get this positioning. We'll see if the Marines spread like this can get some damage done. One tank remains, not a lot here to defend this production.
Oh, God. But there's a huge marine force, and jjakji wasn't building any tanks. He wasn't rallying his marines at home, and maybe even was. This is too many marines for him to deal with.
Well, production gets obliterated. aLive's gonna be floating a lot of minerals for quite some time.
Sure, yeah, but his army is now better.
That's true. His army supply lead is still there. He's gonna push through the natural a little bit. That one tank getting some good shots off. Tries to pick up this tank, but jjakji doesn't have the skills to pay the bills. Gonna lose this attack force, and looks like aLive is going to come out on top of this game, takes down that third, and is completely defended.
jjakji, I don't believe, knows about the fourth base. That's why... Oh, no, he does. I guess Marine over there or something, but if he knows about it, then he knows that he's in a ton of trouble. That's 4 bases with enough SCVs to be fine. A couple of tanks even still live for aLive, too. He still has production in general. jjakji knows that he's losing this game. Surprised he's still in it, down to 50 supply.
Yeah, he's definitely behind. Thank you to CK Walsh for the brand new sub, by the way. That's like, what, 4 new subscribers today? We're in a roll, Zombie Grub.
Ooh.
And to host more TvT tournaments, apparently. Again, for those who are asking about, like, is there going to be a PvP or ZVZ tournament, I just want to clarify, we have no current plans to do that. Would I be opposed to it? Not at all, but we don't have any plans as of right now to run anything like that. We're just enjoying some TvT action here with Legacy of the Void. And of course, this is our first big tournament coming to Legacy of the Void, so thank you guys for joining us for it. Hopefully you've been enjoying the first qualifier of 3. Just reminding you all as well, while we got this gap here towards the end of the game, that we do have the North American qualifier later tonight as well.
Oh, this game's still going on, and jjakji's gonna try his best, I guess, to drop his way to victory, but that army for aLive is getting pretty darn big. Big enough to keep half at home and half on the attack and still win the game.
Yeah, I just can't see it, can't see it working, man.
jjakji's gonna try.
Yeah, I mean, A for effort. He's got a small upgrade lead, which is kind of cool, but no tank support makes this really difficult to deal with.
Maybe he's hoping on that upgrade lead being quite...
He's like, I know aLive's not going to drop tanks anymore. He's going to get cocky.
Yeah, totally.
Well, the flank from behind's not a bad move, but it's not going to be enough either. GG gets called, and aLive will take the first map in this best of 3.